Hi, I'm Giselle Ong. I am the Senior Marketing Associate for Ayala Museum. One of the more iconic exhibits you can say about Ayala Museum is really the diorama exhibit. It's more or less synonymous with us, and a lot of the children and a lot of the adults, when they hear Ayala Museum, they think of the dioramas. So what it does is it goes through 60 pivotal moments in our history, from pre-colonial up to the martial law era and people power. And it's been around since the 70s, so it's been here for a while. Like I mentioned, the dioramas have been here since the 70s. And actually, when it was released in the 70s, it was already kind of a big deal there. It was already innovative for that time. Going off on that, we still wanted to be innovative. We wanted to be able to display history in a different way, especially to a new audience. And one of the technologies that we use is virtual reality. And we wanted to go into virtual reality because it was immersive. And it made our audience feel like they were part of history and they could feel it, not just hear it, not just read it, but actually feel it. The first installment was last year, and it was about Jose Rizal and his trial and execution. The reason why we chose Rizal back then, because of course, our most popular hero in Philippine history is Jose Rizal. And what was good with that installment was that it made you look through different perspectives. So 3 main perspectives: as a bystander, what would you do as Rizal is being executed, as the soldier tasked to execute Rizal, and lastly, as Rizal himself. And what we aimed to do with that was to make our audience think and feel what they would do in that moment, and if it was something that they would do as well for their country. In the Philippine museum industry, it was, in a way, a new sort of foray into technology. And it was a fun experience for them to be able to experience it and actually be in the reenactment of history, especially in our current time with Goyo and General Luna. There has been a spike of interest in our history and being portrayed in the modern times. And this is one of the things that we did to be able to go with that flow and trend as well. Sort of the sequel of our Jose Rizal VR installment is Emergence of the Filipino Nation, and this time it features Andres Bonifacio and Emilio Aguinaldo. And we chose those two because it's the natural progression as well from Jose Rizal. So chronologically, after Jose Rizal's death, we go into the Katipunan and how we went about getting our independence as a country. And these are two very important and very controversial leaders in their own right. And what we wanted to show is these two leaders, they wanted the same thing. They wanted freedom for the Philippines, they wanted independence. But they took different paths to get to that goal, and we wanted to see that difference as well. So what Emergence of a Filipino Nation does is it takes 4 static scenes in our dioramas and brings them to life. So the first one is the cry of Pugadlawin. So that's the tearing of the cedula. We have the Tejeros Convention. We have the execution of Andres Bonifacio. And then lastly, we have our Declaration of Independence. I Am Cardboard has been our partner. They're our provider, actually, of our VR goggles. But our production house is Biman Productions. So both films, the Jose Rizal film and Emergence of Filipino Nation, was directed by Marco Biman. And this one, for this sequel, it was a lot bigger than the Rizal one. So it was, filming dates took like months. It was the biggest production that we had. So the production crew was more than 100, and even our extras reached up to 100. So we did interior and exterior filming, and we recreated a lot of iconic venues of history. So the house of Andres Bonifacio in Kawit and all of that. So we put it up in a huge warehouse. One of the reasons we chose VR is we wanted to increase empathy within our audience. So when you experience it firsthand, it feels like you're actually a part of it. And you understand the emotions that our heroes were going through at that time. And you feel the empathy for them. And it makes you think as well, like history is supposed to do. When you know history, you feel it, you realize it, you bring it to the present. Right now, we don't have any solid plans yet for our next VR installment, but definitely the museum is always working to expand its efforts, especially into new technology. So it may be VR, it might not be VR, but definitely we're going to be coming up with something new and exciting.